Ba-ba-da-da. Listen for my how.
Hi, I'm Nicole.
And I'm Misha.
And we're
Ritual Común. We're actually going to transition into a new topic pretty soon. So we wanted to just kind of hone in on this today in terms of healing through meditation. So there's other healing work that you can then start to do. But when you're able to heal through meditation, you're able to kind of identify, well, hey, there's these other obvious things that I feel like I need to heal now. And sometimes it's not so obvious. Meditation helps bring those things to awareness.
Before we were talking about going out and being a mindful activist in your life, whether that be for the Black Lives Matter movement or, being an activist for your own life or your family's life at whatever level you find yourself showing up for people. We have to be really aware of what's going on within ourselves, and that a lot of the triggers in your own personal life, because we've all had pasts, are being worked out. It's not about ignoring, it's about acknowledging and coming to peace with it.
And what Nicole always talks about is holding space, right? And so she has to hold space.
Nicole just holds space all day.
And I think that's one of those aspects that you consider for yourself, right? So you've been out there, you've been protesting, you've been moving through, you've been educating yourself. Now we're coming into this new space of awareness. We're educating ourselves, each other. We're just having these open conversations now. And I think that's when you take something like meditation, not just for the time of crisis, but also for the time of like celebration and rejoicing, because you're saying, this is what makes me feel like I'm alive.
And for me, meditation was an amazing tool for me to do that and be able to not just realize my own blocks and triggers, but be able to find compassion and stillness within them. And that has allowed me to then not only sit in front of a client and have these really emotional conversations, but also show up for my community and my family in a more grounded and centered way. Something that comes up for me when I meditate a lot, especially when I was going through my program, we were having a lot of discussions and kind of working out how we were going to show up for a client. And part of that work is called countertransference. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that, but it's basically when you're trying to work something out, how much of what you're saying and where you're coming from is your own crap, right? Like how much of it is things that you haven't resolved within yourself. I would catch it before I went down that line. And that was really helpful because I was able to hold space. Then I was no longer having a conversation to prove my point or to be right or to lead someone to a place that I believe to be the right place. But I was truly tuning in and listening and scanning for those people's needs, which is really important, even in, with your partner, with your family. If you are going out and talking to people about structural racism or whatever it may be, a lot of us have been affected by those things at a very deep level, and we're coming to awareness of that and figuring out how much that has wounded in our lives, that when we do show up with somebody else and we're having these conversations, a lot of it is coming from places that we haven't resolved.
And actually the other day I was sort of ruminating in my thoughts where I kept on going back to a time in high school. And I kept on asking myself, like, why do I care so much as to like what people are doing from high school? And I actually put myself in a meditation just for something so simple as that, because I wanted to understand, like, what is pulling me to these thoughts? Why can't I like release them? It's almost like I never really cared before, but now I'm like thinking about it. And I'm seeing myself and other people around me nowadays sort of as these like little shiny patches of life that have come through all of this adversity and turmoil. Like the lotus comes from the adversity and grows from the swamp. So I see myself now, and I'm recognizing other people that have done that. Sometimes we ruminate over thoughts over and over, and we can't get these thoughts out of our heads. And maybe sometimes they are based on negative impact, but sometimes it's positive. And sometimes it's just awareness of yourself and where you are. So when you're able to sit with yourself in meditation, you're truly able to heal. Because what I was able to do just in that 10 minutes of meditation was connect myself from the past and all the things that I had always wanted to achieve and gain in my life, to now what I'm doing in my life and what I stand for and how much I have influenced and inspired others. And this is what I've been receiving. So now I'm understanding that I have made a difference. And those that have seen me maybe look at me in a way where I can inspire them. And that's my life goal.
Meditation for me didn't bring me answers per se. It didn't solve things, but it allowed me to separate myself from all those things that I hadn't worked out yet. And I was able to recognize it. And I was a lot more aware of when I'm asking these questions of people, or when I am trying to figure something out with someone, how much of that is my own ego, right? Like my own triggers kind of coming up. In order for us to heal as a whole, I think we really need to be able to listen to one another and not make the mistake that white males have been doing for generations, which is to assume that their version of reality is the right one and the fairest one for all, right? We need to also give that space and say, like, listen, like my reality is just as valid as yours. I need you to hear me right now, but I'm also willing to listen to what you're saying and not have it affect me personally and, ruin my whole day.
And that's so difficult, right? When we're trying to interact with each other. How can I show up for someone and just listen to them? And how can I improve my relationship with someone that I love and listen to them? And how can I show up for myself and not judge myself so much? And making that space for yourself to meditate, essentially what Nicole says about what she holds space for others, you have to hold space for yourself. What you're going to find is that it doesn't move in a direct line, right? It's not like a point A, point B. It's like a freaking spiral, right? Everybody's seen that little meme. It's like, that's how life grows.
I haven't seen that meme.
Oh, I'll this meme, that one. When you allow yourself that space, you can then process your own feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And how amazing is that for you to be like, hey, I hear you because I felt that before. Because maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, I was so angry and I had no idea I even felt that. But now that you're saying that, like, I know what you're saying because I sat with myself and I was able to feel those things.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
exactly where I was a couple of weeks ago. I was so angry.
Yeah.
And I was just like saying things and I was like, I just need to get all these things out. And I really had to take time for myself to be like, okay, recenter. What's going on? And I think it allows me to verbalize where I'm coming from and my experience in a way that will be heard.
One of our jobs is to make the space for people to speak, right? For people to feel, for able to literally, that's the idea. But without doing that for ourselves, it doesn't work.
Yeah, dogs.
Okay, guys, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If not, just scroll away to another channel. We have podcasts, we have Instagram, we have all sorts of things. We will see you again.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.
If you like what you hear and you want to keep the conversation going, listen to our podcast, Ritual Común Contigo.
Also, check out our Instagram where we have affirmation, oracle cards, and give a special message just for you.
Make sure to check out our website,
ritualcomún.com.
Inhala.
Exhala. Inhala. Exhala.